The Christmas season is a great time to look at certain traditions and legends that are part of unique customs from around the world. While looking for interesting Christmas traditions, I stumbled upon the Kallikantzaros, an evil goblin from Greek folklore. And that's what we will talk about today. Just before we get started, if you are new to the channel and want to see more content on myths and legends from around the world, make sure to subscribe to not miss the next ones. No one knows exactly when or how the legends about the Kallikantzaros began to spread in Greece, but many link them to the myths of satyrs in classical Greek mythology. Not only because of their physical similarities, but also because these creatures are equally mischievous. According to a modern theory, throughout history, people avoided going out of their homes at night and thus invented nocturnal creatures and supernatural entities to try to explain the strange things happening when it was pitch black outside. As you all know, during the winter season, the sun sets earlier, and as Christmas approached, that's when stories about these creatures began to circulate. The people stayed home a lot more, and it was probably there, around the warm hearth, that stories about the Kallikantzaros originated. A lot of people believe that these creatures were originally humans that were cursed and who lost their humanity over time to eventually take on this hideous and goblin-like form. Those most susceptible to this transformation were babies born during the Epiphany who were not immediately baptized, or people whose guardian angels were unable to protect them from the influence of demons. Today, when we talk about these creatures, we immediately think of Greece, since after all, that's where they were first mentioned in history. But stories about them are also found in some regions of Bulgaria, Serbia, Albania, and even Turkey. Now then, when we talk about their physical description, well, it varies quite often, precisely because of the differences between each region and what they bring to the myth. Generally, there are two popular descriptions of these creatures. The first, which is also the most popular, describes them as small, hideous goblins who play pranks and cause mischief all around them. They have big red eyes, bushy and dirty hair, boar tusks, and long hands with sharp nails. They're also very nimble and love to walk on the roofs of houses to infiltrate the people's homes through the chimney. The second description presents them as giants, very similar to satyrs from Greek mythology, but much larger. They have a humanoid form with a head resembling that of a goat, a long beard, and tangled hair. But generally, when talking about the Kallikantzaros, we usually talk about the little troublemaking goblins. In modern folklore, it is said that the Kallikantzaros stay underground and try to cut the trunk of the world tree so that it collapses, taking the earth with it. But every single time, just as they were about to cut the final part, the Christmas season arrived and they all came back to the surface of the earth. Then, for some reason, they completely forget about the tree and emerge from the depths during the 12 days of Christmas, ending with the Epiphany, to cause harm and terrorize human beings. They wreaked havoc in homes, flogged the inhabitants, tore off their clothes, scattered flour everywhere, and so much more. Fortunately, there were ways to defend against them. For example, making the sign of the cross could potentially scare them away. Also, the putrid smell of certain things, such as old shoes thrown into the fire, is also very effective against them. They also feared fire, and that's why some people would bring torches with them at all times to make sure they were not the target of the Kallikantzaros' pranks. Finally, once the 12 days have passed and the sun resumed its original movement, the Christmas goblins returned underground and started to cut up the world tree again. However, during their absence, the tree has had time to regenerate, and that's why they had to start over and resume their destructive work until the next year. When the goblins were gone, the villages went through a purifying ritual where a large bonfire was lit outside to scare off evil. Also, homes were cleaned properly and the ashes from the chimneys were thrown away outside. Today, the Kallikantzaros are still part of the Greek folklore and are even present in modern pop culture. They even make an appearance in the American series Grimm in the 7th episode of the 4th season. And this concludes this little video on the Kallikantzaros, the Christmas goblin. I hope you enjoyed it, and I also invite you to follow the channel and subscribe for even more content like this. With that, I wish you all Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, take care of yourselves, enjoy your vacation, and we'll see each other very soon for more myths and legends.